Lesson 8, Fractions with Unlike Denominators. When adding and subtracting fractions, you need a common denominator. This is what it would look like. So each rectangle represents a whole candy bar, a whole, anything that's one whole, okay? So we're going to shade in 1/4, and now we're going to add 2 more fourths. A problem like this is pretty simple because we have 1/4 plus 2 more fourths. So this, if I add this one, it's 2/4, and then another one is 3/4. So as you can see, each piece is the same size. It's 1/4, and we can tell this just by looking at our denominators. They're the same. So we just add the numerators and bring the denominator over because the denominator is the same, so it's just telling us that each piece is the same size. When we look at the second example, the pieces are 2 different sizes. We have 1/2 right here, and then we have 1/3, which is smaller, right here. We need to add these. So I cannot just say 1, 2, something, right? I can't do that because I don't know what to call the size of each piece. So what I do need to do is find a common denominator, okay? The easiest way to find a common denominator is to find the least common multiple. So if we look at the denominator, 2, I'm just going to count by 2's. So 2, 4, 6, 8. And then I'm going to count by 3's. 3, 6, 9. As soon as I find a number in common, we would call this the least common multiple. Okay? So I would have my common denominator of 6, and we'll talk about that in the next lesson. So what you need to see here is that if the denominators are different, I cannot just simply add across. I'm going to have to find a common denominator because I don't know how big each piece is going to be. Okay, they're not the same size. Let's move on. Okay, so let's find common denominators here. As we did on the previous slide, we found our common denominator of 6. Okay, so we're going to put our common denominator of 6. This. It's very helpful to set your problems up vertically. And now what we need to do is make these fractions equal. So 1/2 is equal to how many sixths? Well, let's see. How do I get from 2 to 6? Well, I multiply by 3, and I'm going to do the same thing here. Whatever I do to the denominator, I have to do to the numerator. So 1 times 3 is 3. Now I have 3 times 2 will give me 6, and 1 times 2 will give me 2. So now I can see that I have common denominators, right? I have 3/6 plus 2/6. So I know that each piece is going to be a 6th, and I'm going to add my numerators. So I have 5/6. Okay, if I want to see the way that looks, it means I can cut each of these wholes into 6ths. Right, so I can see 3/6 is here, and I'm going to cut this whole into 6ths. So this is 2/6. So I just cut each piece into skinnier pieces. And now each piece is the same size, so it's 5/6. Let's try another one. Okay, so now I'm adding the rules of integers in there. So first I'm going to rewrite this. So I have -1/4 followed by a -1/2. Right? So my signs are the same, which means I'm going to add these fractions. So I'm going to put a plus here so I don't forget what I'm doing. And I know my answer is going to be negative because 1/2 is bigger than 1/4 and it's negative. So I'm going to put my negative sign in my answer so I don't forget. Now let's find common denominators. If you can just do this in your head, then go right ahead. and just put your common denominator in right away. If you can't, then just count by the skip count by the denominator. So 4, 8, 12, and then 2, 4. As soon as you find a match, you can stop. So that's how we got the 4. Now, to get from 4 to 4, that's the same. So if the denominator is the same, the numerator is the same. And then I have to do 2 times 2 to give me 4. So 1 times 2 is 2. This is reminding me to add those numerators. 1 plus 2 equals 3. And my denominator stays 4. So my answer is negative 3/4. Okay, let's try one more. So let's rewrite this because I don't have a plus sign. So this is going to be negative 5 followed by, now this is 2 negatives make a positive, so 1/2. Okay, so my signs are different. So I know I'm going to subtract. Let's put that there. I'm going to take the sign of the higher number. 5 is bigger than 1/2, and that's negative. So my answer is going to be negative. Let's put that there. Now, when you have a whole number, right, and you want to make it into a fraction, just a reminder, you just put a 1 in the denominator, right? So I set up my fractions. My common denominator is going to be 2, right? If I skip count by ones, 1, 2, 3, and then I have a 2 here, so right away, that's my common denominator. If my denominators are the same, my numerators are the same. So how do I get from 1 to 2? 1 times 2 equals 2. So 5 times 2 equals 10. Okay, now it tells me to subtract. So I'm going to do 10 minus 1 is 9. And I'm going to keep my common denominator of 2. So my answer is negative 9/2. And that's it.